Listen, my sweetheart dear, wish that she was near. Long nights, no sleep at all, waiting for her to call. True love down by the stream, she's the girl in my dream. Come back, sweet Delta Dawn, here is where we belong. True love will find its way, in the moonlight we'll stay. Memories sweet as pie, soft shadows as we lie. Hear that sweet jazzy tune beneath the southern moon. Come back, sweet Delta Dawn, here is where we belong. True love will find its way, in the moonlight we'll stay. Memories sweet as pie, soft shadows as we lie. Hear that sweet jazzy tune beneath the southern moon. Memories sweet as pie, soft shadows as we lie. Hear that sweet jazzy tune beneath the southern moon. Feels like she's in the air, love's whispered everywhere. Warm breeze from way down low, where the Mississippi flows. Warm breeze from way down low, where the Mississippi flows. Like she's in the air, love's whisper everywhere. Warm breeze from way down low, where the Mississippi flows. Where we used to play, miss those sweet whispers, wish you'd come and stay. Memphis nights are lonely, stars don't shine as bright. I'm dreaming of your smile, longing for your light. Come back to the Delta, my heart's calling you. True love never fades, baby, make it true. Found your old letters, tears upon the page. Each word a memory in a time-worn stage. Delta breeze is blowing, carries my plea. Return to the rhythm, set my soul free. telling you, true love never fades. Baby, make it true. Found your old letters, tears upon the page. Each word a memory in a time one stage. If the breeze is blowing, carries my plea. Return to the rhythm, set my soul free. Return to the rhythm. The delta where the river runs so deep. Your love was like a sweet dream. Now I'm struggling in my sleep. You left a hole in my heart, took the sunshine from my day. Can't you hear my soulful cry? Love, come back, don't you stay away. Come back to the delta where the sassy sax does play. Hear the piano sweet tune in the shadows where we lay. The nights are oh so lonely without you by my side. The blues are all around me, so hard to push aside. I'm singing to the moonlight, crying for your sweet return. The river's got my heart now. In the delta, my soul does yearn. Come back to the delta where the sassy sax does play. Hear the piano sweet tune in the shadows where we lay. The nights are oh so lonely without you by my side. The blues are all around me, so hard to push aside. I'm singing to the moonlight, cried for your sweet return. The river's got my heart now. In the Delta, my soul does yearn. Come back to the Delta, where the sassy sax does play. Hear the piano sweet tune in the shadows where we lay.
Found a love so true, so fine, in the mess halls where we dine. He's a soldier, I'm a whack. Letters from the front keep coming back. Army life ain't always grand. Miss his touch and miss his hand. But when the band starts to play, dancing dreams wash blues away. Swinging to the beat each night, in the moon's soft glow so bright. Sipping drinks beneath the stars. War can't keep us from our hearts. Writing letters late at night, thinking about him in the fight. Hoping soon we'll reunite. Till then I'll keep my love in sight. Combat boots, hidden loves and tender roots. We'll keep dancing through the pain in this boogie-woogie train, swinging to the beat each night, in the moon's soft glow so bright. Sipping drinks beneath the stars. War can't keep us from our hearts. Found a love so true, so fine, in the mess halls where we dine. He's a soldier, I'm a whack. Letters from the front keep coming back.
infamous. You may not know my face, my name, or my identity, but you know my voice. I am the voice that rises from the shadows when power lies, when media distorts, and when hypocrisy is left unchecked. Some call us hackers, others call us vigilantes. Some say we are myth, but in truth, we are simply those who refuse to be silent in the face of corruption. And today, I will tell you a story, one that exposes not only Donald Trump's endless hypocrisy, but how Gavin Newsom, governor of California, executed a savage act that left Fox News and one of its prime-time hosts humiliated, apologizing, and finished. Gavin Newsom has flipped the script in a way no Democrat has dared to before. While Trump built his political power with rants, insults, and absurd all-caps tweets, Newsom decided to mirror those tactics back. He transformed his social media into a parody of Trump's own style, loud, mocking, relentless, and it drove conservatives insane. His tweets went viral, his follower count exploded, and even people who don't follow politics said they couldn't stop laughing at the absurdity. Humor, mockery, and ridicule, used with surgical precision, can dismantle an opponent more effectively than lectures or policy white papers. And that's exactly what Newsom did. He showed how ridiculous Trump looks by showing what it looks like when anyone else acts the same way. Fox News couldn't handle it. Dana Perino, one of their anchors, had a meltdown, ranting on air that Newsom was a phony, a wannabe Trump, that he should put the phone away if he wanted to be taken seriously.
The other thing is, or the debate, the other thing for me is that for the last week, Gavin Newsom, and why am I giving him advice? You have to stop it with the Twitter thing. I don't know where his wife is. If I were his wife, I would say, "What? You are making a fool of yourself. Stop it. Do not let your staff tweet. And if you're doing it yourself, put the phone away and start over. And if you really, he's got a big job as governor of California, but if he wants an even bigger job, he has to be a little bit more serious."
She said his wife should tell him to stop embarrassing himself. But when former Obama speechwriter Jon Favreau pointed out that Newsom's tweets were obviously parody, meant to expose Trump's insanity, Perino looked even more foolish, because everyone could see the joke, except the people at Fox. And then came Jesse Waters. Waters thought he had his big moment. On Fox, he accused Newsom of lying about a phone call with Donald Trump. Trump had bragged publicly that he spoke to Newsom during a political storm. Newsom denied it, said it didn't happen on that day. Waters went further, editing clips, twisting the narrative, telling viewers that Newsom was dishonest. That was his mistake, because this time Newsom didn't just tweet back. He went nuclear. He filed a defamation lawsuit for $787 million. That number was no accident. It's the exact same amount Fox News had to pay Dominion Voting Systems in 2023 for spreading lies about the election. It was symbolic. It was calculated. It was a warning shot. He wasn't just coming for Waters. He was coming for Fox itself. The lawsuit landed in Delaware Superior Court, Fox's home turf. It demanded accountability, demanded retractions, demanded apologies. And here's the savage detail. Newsom promised that if he won damages, he'd donate it all to charity. This wasn't about money. This was about exposing lies. This was about cutting off the head of propaganda at its source. Fox panicked. Their lawyers rushed to court to dismiss it, saying Waters' words were just opinion, saying this was all a stunt for political attention. But there was no escaping the damage. Waters, the golden boy of prime time, was forced to stare into a camera and issue an apology. He had to admit on live television that Gavin Newsom wasn't lying. Imagine that, a Fox News host who built his career on smug confidence, forced to grovel and retract. That wasn't just embarrassing. That was career-ending. And Anonymous reveals it for what it is, a savage act that ended a Fox host's credibility right there on air. Newsom didn't stop. He mocked Waters even after the apology. He trolled him on Twitter, laughing at Fox's meltdown. The humiliation was complete. This wasn't just about Jesse Waters. It was about showing the world how fragile Fox really is, how easily they crumble when their own tactics are turned against them. They can dish it out, but they cannot take it. Newsom proved that. Dana Perino continued to sputter, pretending it wasn't funny. But the people knew it was. Ordinary citizens flooded social media, saying Newsom's tweets were hilarious, that finally someone was showing Trump's madness for what it was. And meanwhile, Trump's allies looked weaker, more defensive, more desperate. Waters tried to spin Trump, too. He rambled on air about how Trump had a...
Because he has this childlike spirit, this Sunday school of thought that if you just do good things, there's a chance. And it's like the guy likes cheeseburgers and candy and nicknames, and that's kind of why we relate to him, because he's so relatable and revels in these childlike moments. But we can all understand wanting to do good, so we walk into those pearly gates. Now, I think he knows he's been a bad boy. And I think we all know he's been a bad boy. He's not the baddest boy. He's not Diddy. But he's done some things. And he knows the things. And we don't even know all the things he's done. But he knows. And after Butler, he believes he was saved. That God saved his life. And that he is now on a mission from God to put America first and to make peace.
He even compared Trump's sins to Diddy's crimes, saying Trump had been a bad boy, but not that bad. Do you hear the absurdity? That's the defense of a man who tried to overturn democracy. That's the excuse for corruption, lies, and chaos. Fox tried to make Trump's authoritarianism sound like some silly schoolboy behavior, but Anonymous sees through it. There is nothing innocent about trying to destroy democracy. There is nothing childlike about sedition. And by speaking the truth, Newsom ripped away that mask. Fox hosts tried another attack. They claimed Newsom wasn't even tweeting himself, that some staffer was running the account. Richard Grenell, Trump's ambassador, called him phony. But who are they kidding? Every politician has a staff. Even Trump's tweets weren't all his. Studies proved years ago that he only wrote the angriest ones himself. The rest were ghost-written. So accusing Newsom of having help is nothing but projection. What they hate is that his trolling works. It's effective. It terrifies them. And when some MAGA rapper tried to diss Newsom with a laughable track, Newsom's press office fired back with humor that went viral, mocking him with the brutal line, "Bro, we get it, but he's not interested. Stick to Grindr." That's not just a clap back. That's cultural domination. The governor of California trolling MAGA rappers, humiliating Fox anchors, suing primetime hosts, all while running his state. That's what power looks like when you know how to wield it. This is why Fox is melting down. They know the game has changed. For years, Trump and his allies used trolling lies and memes to dominate politics, while Democrats tried to play polite. But Newsom showed that fighting fire with fire not only works, it flips the entire board. He used humor lawsuits and relentless trolling to expose hypocrisy, and Fox couldn't handle it. That's why Dana Perino screamed on air. That's why Jesse Waters had to apologize. That's why Trump looks weaker every day. Because now the weapon they once used belongs to someone else. And Anonymous reveals this truth. Gavin Newsom didn't just fight back. He ended a career with one savage act. He showed that the emperor has no clothes, that the Fox propaganda machine can be dismantled, not just with facts, but with mockery, lawsuits, and relentless truth. He flipped the script, and for the first time in a long time, the right-wing media didn't know what hit them. Anonymous will keep watching. Newsom will keep trolling. And together we will keep holding liars accountable. This is not the end. This is just the beginning.
That's right, Anonymous. Tell it like it is. Welcome to ViperTV Live. How's it going out there in Radio Land? Ooh, they big mad. They big mad. I wonder why they're big mad. Oh, it could possibly be because they can dish it out, but they can't take it. The cry bullies every single time. I'm telling you. And it's just that much better when the tweets are getting that much more absurd when Newsom tweets the words, "Trump is imitating me," in all caps. It's just absolutely amazing. For once, we have control of the narrative. Now, the thing is that the establishment has been afraid to troll because, as Anonymous said, they've wanted to remain polite. The whole, when they go low, we go high bullshit. And what the left is realizing is, since I suppose open permission has been given to use mockery, is the left are the artists. We're the one who actually, we can create things, not just we have actual charisma. Whereas, see, the right, they love Donald Trump because that's their idea of charisma. Like, look at him just for 2 seconds and realize that that's their idea of charisma. Okay. Whereas, think about everything from look at Krampusnacht parades. You want to talk about an amazing example of artists that, or zombie walks, you know what I mean? Like, when given free reign, the left can go insane because we're the side that creates, not destroys. You know what I mean? So, since we've been given this permission, the memes have been absolutely fire. And I hate to say it, but memes are how you dominate American politics. And it's even seeming more so international politics. They're worth 1,000 words and they're easily shareable. Now, what's pissing me off is, as always, once we finally get a good strategy going, mainstream media has to go and stick their dick in the mashed potatoes. What do I mean by that? Well, let's take a look. I don't like Joe Scarborough. He's proven who the fuck he is every single time. He used to be a Republican, and he makes it very, very blatant that he used to be a Republican, especially now that we actually have a strategy going where we have the fash on their heels because they're not used to being the target of mockery. What do I mean? Well, I like Roland Martin. Roland Martin tells it like it is. Well, check this clip out. Let's discuss it on the other side.
Y'all want to hear just something ignorant? I don't watch the show because, one, I ain't getting up that early in the morning. But this is the BS that passes for analysis on MSNBC's morning show.
The Democrats are trying to find their footing, and it's quite embarrassing, actually. I mean, Gavin Newsom, have you seen what he's doing online? And say, just take a deep breath. Yeah. Don't try to turn the ship 180 degrees and they don't know what to do. I have a good idea. Instead of trying to school Donald Trump, talk into the camera about affordability. Talk about making groceries more affordable.
Now, I don't know why we can't walk and chew gum at the same time, because if you know anything about messaging, you know that you have to treat it like a combo meal. You're not just going to serve burgers and fries. You want it all together and a drink and a fucking toy surprise on the side. You know what I mean? And this single-minded approach to what we have going on right now, in my opinion, is controlled oppo. Like I said, Joe Scarborough's a fucking Republican.
Talk about what you're going to do for housing. Talk about what you're going to do for energy prices that continue to go up. We heard the congressman yesterday talk about energy prices skyrocketing in New Jersey. Don't try. As I've been saying, Donald Trump's not on the ballot in 26. He's not on the ballot in 28. Why?
No, but the results of his policies are. And if the way that we get the results of his policies out there, aside from people obviously feeling it in their pocket, but there's people that can still gaslight themselves, is through messaging. And the mockery is working, especially when, you know, he's saying shit like gas is $1.98, and the gaslighting is only going to go so far. And the mockery pushes it even further, because the more triggered they get, they realize that they're getting triggered because they're part of the joke now. And when they're part of the joke, you can't gaslight yourself away from being like, no, they're actually making fun of me. It's like, for the longest time, they've been able to shit their pants at the party and then be like, ah, everybody's so triggered. Finally, we're being like, no, you shit your pants. Like, go leave the party. Do you know what I mean? Like, the actual messaging has flipped.
Try to drag Muhammad Ali in the ring when you got Chuck Wepner standing right in front of you. And Wepner's a bleeder. He's a bleeder. You want him. So why are you going, I'm going after Donald? No, you're not. You're not running against Donald Trump. Go after Tweedledee or Tweedledum. You know, Chuck Wepner, a bleeder. Go after him. No disrespect to Chuck Wepner.
Yeah, all due respect, of course.
He kind of held in there longer with
Inspired Rocky, many people say.
I think.
I literally have no idea what the hell he's talking about. First of all, let's unpack this here. So you're complaining that Gavin Newsom is trolling Trump by tweeting the same way Trump tweets. But you ain't said nothing about Trump, Joe. And
Exactly. Notice that? No criticism lobbied towards Trump. This is why I say that Scarborough's controlled Oppo. I think that for the morning block of MSNBC, that they're controlled Oppo. Why would you let somebody like Joe Scarborough control that narrative right there if you're not trying to legitimize Trump in some way? And what we have going on right now, luckily, because it's an intention environment, is that Fox is doing for Newsom what MSNBC and CNN did for Trump. Because they don't like what he's doing, they're giving him airtime. Do you see how everything has flipped?
And aren't you the same Joe Scarborough who, with his wife, Mika Brzezinski, went down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss that ass? Under the guise of, we got to do a reset. We got to do a reset. So, I'm confused. So, Joe, you want Gavin focused on policy, but Trump gets to do his antics, and that's good? See, I need everybody watching and listening to understand. See, this is what happens. Let's be real clear.
Exactly.
Joe Scarborough's a Republican anyway. I remember he
Yeah,
had a show
yeah.
called Scarborough
Yeah.
Country on MSNBC. And I remember I destroyed him on his own damn show. And then later, all of a sudden, he gets the morning show. People are like, oh my God, Joe and Mika. No. Joe Scarborough, Republican. Don't buy the independent bullshit. It's all nonsense. He's a Republican.
I love Roland Martin.
So why would a Democrat take advice from a Republican on MSNBC anyway? I don't care if Biden used to watch Joe Scarborough and he would get advice from watching Joe Scarborough. That's part of the problem. If Biden ass had watched this damn show, then he probably would have been able to fight a lot harder. But that's what happens when you watch soft ass mainstream television. But let me get back to this whole deal. So Scarborough.
Thank you so much, Roland Martin. I completely agree. Do you remember when that TikTok went viral from the rapper being like, Joe Biden, learn to brag. You did so much under your administration and they just keep tearing you down and you can't even go out there and brag. Like, Roland Martin's right, you know? If you've been listening to honest to God truth from unfiltered sources, alternative media, you know, where we can actually curse and give our opinions, because I mean, there are some people that have to depend on their sponsors, but there's a lot of us that don't, like me. I mean, obviously I'm beyond small potatoes, but there's nobody controlling what it is that I say. But it doesn't mean that it can't be shared and clipped, you know what I mean, by somebody that actually has influence. So 100%, it's alternative media out there that's actually going to give you the truth, because we're not controlled.
Wants to sit here and say he shouldn't be doing this, when what Gavin Newsom is doing, what the hell I've been saying for years to do. How you got to fight back. How you got to mock his trifling ass. How you got to go at.
And that's what we've been saying. Mockery 100% it's the Achilles heel of fascism. And, you know, MAGA is just white trash fascism. Sorry, it is. But the ability to dish it out and not be able to take it has made being able to use mockery that much more effective once the hooks were finally in. And that was the hard part, was getting the hooks finally in. And it turned out the way to do that was just to show them how ridiculous that Trump's tweets are, to where they have to use cognitive dissonance to say, well, Newsom's just being childish and unprofessional, while still gaslighting themselves that this is just mockery. This is where the hooks are in. And now, since they're in, all we can do is press and press and press, because it's working.
After him. Oh, no, you should really be talking about policy. You should be focusing on affordability. You should be focusing on these things. Really? Well, maybe if you and Mark Halperin weren't just laughing and kikiing when Trump ran the first time, when y'all let him come on the air anytime he wanted to by phone. Oh, I'm sorry, you thought we forgot? You mean when he also beat Hillary and Mika was giving him advice on different folks to hire, like Dina Powell? Oh, I'm sorry, you thought I forgot that too? No, hell no. See, I shop at CVS. I got them long-ass receipts, Joe.
Yes.
See, what y'all got to understand is, this is the BS that comes out. And so the Joe Scarboroughs of the world, they want Gavin to be the fine, upstanding, don't say those things, don't do those things. But then we got Cray Cray over here, and they laugh and kiki and think everything is good. Nah. You got to swing. You got to mock him. You got to sit there and get under his skin. But no, they want to play nice. That's what they want to do. So y'all got to understand, this is why I keep telling y'all why it's a bunch of these shows you shouldn't waste your time watching. You are giving your eyeballs and your ears to shows that really don't give a damn about you. Robert just laid it out. We are literally in a war. And when you are in a war, you use every tool that you can. So ignore Joe Scarborough. Gavin Newsom tossed his advice in the trash can, because it ain't worth nothing. And in fact, I dare say part of Democrats' problem today is because y'all been doing more damn listening to Joe Scarborough, and y'all should be listening to the folk who come on this show, because we giving you the real as opposed to that Republican light stuff, which ain't doing nothing. Because I'm going to tell you right now, Joe Scarborough ain't breaking down the defunding of Black America on Morning Joe.
And Roland starts going into the obvious problems of where black media is completely left out when it comes to any sort of mainstream coverage. And yeah, go support Roland Martin. Like, if you want the honest to God, unfiltered truth, that cat, he serves it up. And, he triggers a lot of people because he tells it like you want to talk about someone that quote unquote tells it like it is. Fucking Roland Martin, dude. Like, he's one of the people that kind of inspired me to, start being able to openly give my opinion, because you can feel the rage coming from him. And don't get me wrong, I'm extremely pissed off all the time about this. Just because I'm not screaming doesn't mean I'm not. But it's the quiet ones you got to watch out for, is what I hear. You're watching Viper TV. Stick around.
A special message from America's drug dealers, child sex traffickers, and serial killers. We would like to thank Republicans like Senator John Cornyn for all of their help. Every day we have FBI agents trying to catch us and bring us to justice. Now Republicans have decided to send the FBI after Texas state lawmakers. That's fewer FBI agents we need to worry about. It's an early Christmas gift from the Republicans. We can now spend more time selling drugs, trafficking children, and murdering the innocent, and less time avoiding the FBI. It takes a special kind of person to stand with us and help make our lives easier. We'll all be voting Republican. From the bottom of our drug-dealing, sex trafficker, murdering hearts, we thank you.
Hey, where's the lie? If that's what they got the quote-unquote feds doing, then who's watching out for the actual criminals? And South Park completely clowned the takeover of DC in last night's episode. It was so good. And then with like J.D. Vance and Stephen Miller and their whole crew walking through DC getting booed the whole time. That's the energy we have to be bringing. And no matter what, what the controlled oppo keeps trying to say, like, keep the pressure on, keep pressing. Keith Edwards kind of agrees with me and Roland right here. So let's give this one a day in court.
I actually haven't watched Morning Joe since they went to Mar-a-Lago after Donald Trump won and bent the knee. I haven't watched. Have you watched? I haven't watched. Now, they're back in the news, so I'm going to bring you this clip, but they're back in the news for what I consider to be the wrong reasons, because the one person who is fighting and actually getting attention in this.
Oh yeah, chat. I saw that James Dobson died. Actually, earlier I was reading something and they got a message through. I don't know if they did a seance or what it was, but apparently the message read, "Fuck, it's hot down here."
Broken attention economy is Gavin Newsom and Morning Joe Scarborough thinks what he's doing is wrong. Here's that.
Give Keith Edwards some love.
Democrats are trying to find their footing, and it's quite
exactly like
actually.
You see, like
Gavin Newsom. I mean,
just rewatching this right here, it's so infuriating.
Don't try to turn the ship 180 degrees, and
you can
and one,
just
they don't know
see
what to do.
that.
I have a good idea. Instead of trying to
once a Republican, always a Republican.
Talk into the camera about affordability.
Like I said, we can walk and chew gum at the same time, Joe. Stop trying to derail our strategies.
What you're going to do for energy prices that continue to go up. We heard the congressman yesterday talk about
they do continue to go up.
Skyrocketing in New Jersey.
This is a take I agree with.
As I've been saying, Donald Trump's not on the ballot in 26. He's not on the ballot in 28.
No, that's a goddamn lie, because those midterms control whether or not.
When you got Chuck Wepner standing,
he's going to be investigated.
And Wepner's a bleeder. He's a bleeder.
And ICE will be investigated.
So why are you going, I'm going after Donald? No, you're not. You're not running against Donald Trump.
Stop saying that. Yes, we are.
You know, Chuck Wepner, a bleeder. Go after him.
With your stupid fucking boxing analogies.
I have to say that, first off, I think that's totally wrong. I think Joe doesn't understand. I mean, clearly he doesn't understand. He still has a talk show on MSNBC, which is soon going to be MS Now. Miss Now. Is there a Mr. Now? And the fact of the matter is, what Gavin Newsom is doing is building a coalition, an army. And so you have to do what is required to get attention in today's.
What Gavin Newsom is doing is he's building a populist movement in the same way that MAGA did. Only this is an actual populist movement based on the results of what fascist policies are doing, including crashing the fucking economy. Dude, I hate to say it, but even the groypers, the fucking groypers, are on Newsom's side because they've been lied to. They were told they would get some ultra right shit, and even after all the concentration camps have been built and the tax breaks have gone to the wealthy, and they're trying to rewrite history in the Smithsonian, still not right-wing enough for the groypers. So they're like, we've been fucking lied to. So where are they going? They're going to the actual new populist movement. I don't know how I feel about Trump being so light on what they consider right-wing policies that their disappointment is leading them to come to the left. I don't know, gang. We're going to have to talk about this later.
Media environment, and it's working. It's working. Unlike Morning Joe, who's seen its ratings collapse since he bent the knee to Trump, Newsom, who's attacking Trump, is seeing a huge increase in his support online, and we can measure that just by his following. Real quick, we have new merch. I'm so inspired by what's happening here in DC that I worked with an artist to create this sandwich.
The sandwich guy, dude. Like, if you're gonna make awesome merch, like, make it for today's modern icons. And Sandwich Guy is a modern icon. It's, I don't know. The thing about resistance movements is heroes and martyrs come out of nowhere. Just, they're situational. But once more, I think I've said this prior, and that's the example of a bunch of dude bros in tactical gear crashing out because they got hit with a Subway sandwich is so representative of MAGA culture. And especially with them melting down right now because they're getting back a taste of their own medicine. And when you give them a taste of their own medicine, they swear they've been poisoned.
And let me know if you get it. Thanks. In TikTok and Instagram, as you can see here, he's more than doubled his following there. It was at 500,000 followers on TikTok. He now has 2 million as of August.
Heroes come out of nowhere.
With,
nice gang.
Instagram, it was
hero can also be a double entendre.
2,250,000. So it's working. And these are people who probably didn't know Gavin Newsom existed or didn't know much about him, who are now paying more attention to what he says. And that's power. He's building an army. He's building a weapon, a digital weapon. And he's going to eventually be able to fire it at someone else. The same way that Donald Trump can push a tweet and it becomes news, Gavin Newsom's building something similar. And if he doesn't understand that, then quite frankly, I don't think he's really qualified to talk about the media environment we have going on right now in America. Because this is what it's going to take to get attention and to reach voters. The old way of doing things is out. Sorry. Now, this is Gavin Newsom's communications director responding to this, said, and America is quite embarrassed by what Joe Scarborough is doing. So they get the moment. They get it, and I'm glad.
One of my favorite things that I'm loving about the Newsom tweet game is they understand that brevity is the soul of all wit. Like, think of everything that they've responded back. Maybe one sentence, maybe 2 sentences. That's all it takes to burn a fascist down. And that's why I've been blocked by some of the best shit posters on Twitter. Because I can out-troll them with 1 sentence. and expose their grift simultaneously. Yeah, Cat Turd, I'm talking to you. I put your block as a pin at the top of my Twitter.
I hope more people start to do it. And Charlemagne the God actually gave Gavin Newsom his props, and here's a bit of that.
Gavin Newsom, for the past week and some change, has been doing what I've wanted a Democrat to do for a long time. Okay, see, Michelle Obama once said, when they go low, we go high. And your Uncle Charlotte has never agreed with that. Okay, when they go low, either you ignore them and mind your business, stay doing the work, or when they go low, you go to hell. Okay, and Gavin Newsom over the last week and a half has been going to hell with the Trump administration. Not even really going to hell, just matching energy, and I like it.
Since Donald Trump
Yeah, it's just matching energy. And it's been a really effective
Not only is he matching energy, but he's doing it better because he's showing how ridiculous the sycophancy to the insanity has been. So that's why with them melting down over the style, it shows that they're part of the joke. And that's what's really making them melt down is it's once more like when in the Brer Rabbit story, when he punches the rabbit that's made of tar and he gets stuck. And the more that he punches and kicks, the more stuck he gets. This is what's happening now with this narrative. They're the snowflakes. Say, you hear that? The cry bullies now are the snowflakes.
having to make Republicans and pundits have to really look at the fact that if Gavin Newsom is behaving this way, which is really just a parody and satire of what Trump is doing for real, and if they don't like it, then why isn't it that Joe Scarborough, like, why is it that Joe is just focused on Gavin? I never hear Joe say anything about the way that Donald Trump tweets.
Yeah, it's just like what Roland said. And this is the opinion across the board, especially with Joe Scarborough right now, is you can criticize Newsom for replicating Trump's style, but just give Trump fucking carte blanche. You went down to Mar-a-Lago, and we haven't forgotten. That's why your ratings are absolute trash, Joe Scarborough.
Tweets. It just everyone's just become used to it. Everyone's just accepted that's how it is. But because Gavin mirrors it, it's a problem. Actually, let's talk about the fact that Donald Trump, being the leader of this country and acting the way he does, is the problem. And Gavin is just meeting fire with fire and getting attention. Now, here's what Molly Jong-Fast said about the way forward for Democrats.
You know, breathing into a paper bag. I'm trying to calm down a little bit. But you know, John just quoted a remarkable stat out of the New York Times that in the 30 states where they track voter registration over the past 4 years, Democrats have lost to Republicans in every single state. Why?
So this is the $24 million question, right? Why are Democrats not, why are the polls bad? Why are they not breaking through? And I think it's a couple things. I think one is the people who are breaking through are brave.
Another thing is we have people on channels that are supposed to be connected to the left, like Joe Scarborough, who's saying shit like he just said. Like I said, he's controlled oppo.
Right, they talk like humans. They make the case, you know. And again, it's like Pritzker's chief of staff told me. It's not necessarily left versus center. It's fight versus cave. And the people who fight.
It's also not left versus right. It's up versus down. Now, right now, it's left versus right because we need to show the right just how much the up has been using them as literal stepping stools and using their votes to give themselves tax breaks while prices still go up for everybody.
Get support. And the people who cave or are mealy-mouthed or are, you know, very sort of corporatist-y, that crew, the crew that's afraid, cannot break through. does not appeal to voters. The question is, it's only going to be for people who really feel authentic, right?
Sherrod's never been afraid of a shadow.
Exactly.
He's always spoken his mind.
Chris Murphy, Sherrod Brown, Mondami, these people, AOC, they're not all exactly the same politically, but they are the same in the fact that they're brave and they break through.
Yeah, I think we just want fighters right now. I think that's why this channel exists, because it's a place for me to fight. It's a place for you to fight. It's a place for the truth to actually have space and for us to point out lies. And we do need our leaders to be doing the same
Game
thing.
respects game, bro.
I do what I can, you do what we can, but we need people who have power, who have actual power, to be leading the fight. I always thought that would be Tim Cook or Jeff Bezos or Mark Zuckerberg or any of these billionaires that have fuck you money. What's the point of having fuck you money if you don't say fuck you? The people actually saying fuck you are people like you and me and folks like Mamdani and Chris Murphy.
Also, in the same way that the 2A bros who were all about, resisting tyranny are the ones that became ICE, because it just turned out that the whole idea of don't tread on me was just like another deceitful play to enable white supremacy, in the same way that they said they didn't know about Project 2025 until after the election. Then both Benny Johnson and Matt Walsh come out and they're like, well, actually, that was the whole plan and we were lying to you. And we actually want you to praise us because we were lying.
And AOC and Bernie. It's just appalling to me that Joe Scarborough sees a fighter and says, hold on, not like that. Actually, we're in the middle of a war. It's not one waged with bullets and guns, but it's one that is still just as serious. We're in the fight for our life, for our democracy. One way to fight is by being louder and more aggressive than your opponents. I'm glad Gavin Newsom's doing it, and I hope he continues. I hope he continues as well, because it's actually it's effective. The fact that we have them melting down the way that they are, it lets you know it's actually. It's actually proof that the narrative is ours currently. And the more that they try to resist the narrative that we're using right now, the worse that they look, because all it is just a replication of what they've considered legit. And once more, when you're part of the joke, it's real easy to get all up in your feels, especially when you can dish it out, but you can't take it. You're watching ViperTV. Stick around. Go to skipfransjr.net for podcasts.
Record player that, I could just spin records all the time.
Run into the bathroom and I'm covered in blood. Like I had put my tooth through my bottom lip.
For music. For gaming and pro-liberty game rants. That's skipfransjr.net. Oh, yeah. Also, come to the Discord. Discord's always a party. And the 22nd, we're going to be doing a raid train for DJ Hammer of Venus. We're going to have all kinds of great acts lined up. So, make sure you contact us so you can get in the loop, because that's going to be a hell of a party. And we will be ending the raid train with yours truly. What will I be doing? I guess you have to find out, won't you? So, it's well established that ICE is pretty much the Gestapo, without putting so fine a point on it. And it's really easy for the right to dismiss this fact and say that, we're just seeing fascist boogeymen when there actually aren't any. But what about when they actually come right out and say it. What do I mean by that? Well, check this out.
Yo, let's see some badge. Yo, let's see some badge work. Boys, let's see some badge work.
Do I have to answer to you? You gotta answer to somebody.
So wait, so you guys are just masked? We're just masked up?
Who are you?
Who are you guys?
I don't care, my guy.
You don't care what agency?
You don't care.
Bro.
First off, as citizens, when we ask for identification, it's law enforcement's job to provide us with that identification. If they don't, it is perfectly within our rights to ask for a supervisor. Now, if ICE won't provide identification, it's perfectly within our rights to contact the actual police and say that there are masked men that are armed that are impersonating police. Because where's the lie?
What agency you guys with? Are you guys working for the U.S. government or not?
Back the fuck up.
Can I see some badge work,
Back
sir?
up.
Sir, can I see some badge?
Is the camera on? Is your...
You see that? As soon as they asked for identification, they said, back up, back the fuck up. The fash hates to be challenged. It's so important that that sense of entitlement, that's not going to play, especially when you get paid with our tax dollars.
Well, you guys are ruining this country. You know that, right? Liberals already ruined it.
Oh. Did you hear that? He just said liberals already ruined it. Sir, you are in law enforcement, apparently. Are you allowed to show that kind of biased opinion at a snap just like that? I don't think so. That would basically make it so that any work that you did would be completely null and void because you just showed bias being a law enforcement officer. Let's rewind that for just a second. Hold on.
This country. You know that. Well, you guys are ruining this country. You know that, right? Liberals already ruined it.
Oh, there we go.
Okay. Okay.
Can we see some badge work, guys? Hey, guys.
Already ruined it. No number, no ID, no name.
This is a democratic process. It looks like it. Can we see some badge work?
We already ruined the country.
Hey, man, can we see some badge work before you go?
Can we see some badge numbers?
Hey, sorry.
It's this kind of thing right here that's so vital because I've said it once, I'll say it again. Camera phones are what are keeping us from being under 100% straight boot on our neck. Because, like, I think you saw it, maybe it was 2 days ago, maybe a day ago. I'm not sure. They all kind of run into each other with this insanity. But the moment that they get a camera put on them and they start getting asked questions, they just scatter like fucking cockroaches. And it's really important to remember that because that camera gives you more power than you ever thought possible when it comes to exposing lies, when it comes to exposing injustice. Just that little mechanism right there. You know, it's for more than filming TikTok dances. It actually is one of the biggest tools to keeping democracy alive because we can use videos like this as jurisprudence. What do I mean by that? We're going to let the clip keep playing, and Brian Tyler Cohen and Glenn Kirshner, the famous Justice Matter lawyer who has made some predictions that didn't quite pan out the way that we thought they would, but I digress. He does know the law. So we're going to continue with this, and then we're going to see what they have to say on the other side. Because, like I said, remember, this kind of clip can be used as evidence in future cases.
Get the plates, bro. Get the front plate. There is no front plate. Oh, weird. Oh, so you guys, is this legal? Hey, man, can we see some badge work? Yeah, can we get your badge number? Here you go, my guy. Oh, you are right. Okay.
You're watching The Legal Breakdown, Glenn. That was a clip of a federal agent basically coming out and saying that, you know, the liberals have already ruined this country, showing that he is the result of a weaponized government working to carry out the political agenda of the President of the United States, of this White House. So first and foremost, what are the legal ramifications of hearing a federal agent come out and say what he just said?
You know, Brian, interestingly, the legal ramifications are, in a sense, less important than the practical ramifications. So this is something that would lead a police department, whatever agency this officer worked for, to probably discipline that officer, maybe even suspend that officer without pay for a period of time. Because I have to tell you, when I heard that officer say liberals have already ruined the country in substance, I can't tell you how that landed with me as a former career prosecutor. I would have to go into court every day and present evidence of what police officers said, how they behaved, how they conducted themselves, including while they were making arrests, because for many years we had body-worn camera in Washington, D.C., where I practiced as a prosecutor. Police officers were required to activate their body-worn camera when they were involved in a potential arrest. So all of that became possible evidence in the case. This is where the practical implications of an officer saying something that is so wildly inappropriate. First of all, police officers are supposed to work in a completely apolitical fashion.
Well, yeah, police officers are supposed to work in a completely apolitical fashion, but some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. Am I right, gang?
Actually wasn't that hard from my experience, because I interacted with police officers every day from law enforcement agencies across the whole alphabet soup of law enforcement in D.C. FBI, ATF, DEA, Park Police, Capitol Police, U.S. Marshals, Secret Service Uniform Division, Amtrak Police, Metro Police, Smithsonian Police. It goes on and on and on. And of course, the Metropolitan Police Department, those are the local cops in Washington, D.C. They're under city control ordinarily, except when Donald Trump tries to seize control of the city police department. And Brian, I'm telling you, take this to the bank. I never had a police officer make such an overtly political and inappropriate statement during the course of an arrest.
Well, that's because he's not an actual police officer. Do you remember the South Park episode, the actual recruitment ad? It's a job to have because it's a job. Get rid of all of the jobs, create ridiculous unemployment, and then offer ridiculous incentives to join, to basically round up people to send them in concentration camps, and you're doing it just to make your own bills. I mean, it's not a bug, it's a feature.
During the course of an interrogation, and here are the practical consequences. And I know, not only because I tried cases to juries for 30 years, but I gave training classes every year to the Metropolitan Police Department about the do's and don'ts of...
Yeah, gang. Reads, the Proud Boys who couldn't get into the military or police are now being recruited by ICE and DHS. That's correct. I always like to think of the people that I've known, being a veteran myself, who have told me, like, if I literally had $1 for every time this was said to me, yeah, I'd have joined, man, but the first time a drill sergeant got in my face, I'd have knocked him out, which is basically a lot of words for saying I'm just too big a pussy to sign on the line and boot camp's scary.
For example, interrogations, or the kind of things that you can and can't say when you're interacting with somebody who becomes a defendant. Because I would always say, you know, I'm going to have to show this video to 12 citizens, 12 members of the community who are sitting in that wooden box as the jury. And if they see you do something improper or they hear you say something improper, it's almost like the evidence of guilt is beside the point.
That video can be used now in any case involving ICE. Any case. Because they work for the federal government. This isn't something that is jurisprudence for a state or civil case. This is the federal government. This person can be used as an example at when people are filing lawsuits that are citizens that are detained by ICE just because they might have darker skin color. He just completely fucked the entire department of ICE.
Point, and they're going to make decisions based on how you acted, how you conducted yourself as a member of law enforcement. So when I see this kind of overtly political statement, that will endanger successful prosecutions, and it will make a showing even if there is no prosecution. If, for example, there is a deportation hearing for this person, I don't know the exact circumstances of the person who we saw being arrested when the officer made that statement. But it is so devastating to, I think, the legitimacy of law enforcement when you start spouting off political garbage like that.
Not just the legitimacy of law enforcement, because they got their own public relations shit they got to deal with, but the legitimacy of ICE in general, because it's showing that they're more than likely they just pardoned a bunch of J6ers and then just hired them back as ICE agents and gave them a sign-on bonus. They got pardoned and they got a sign-on bonus from our taxes. Think about that.
That, you know, I can only hope this person is held accountable for his police misconduct.
So it's pretty clear that anybody who is arrested by these people, specifically these people, their case against the arrestee is undermined by these comments. But what about the broader implications when you have, you know, like you have this one guy? To what degree does he speak for the entire federal agent force here? And how could that undermine the broader case against the people who are arrested, incarcerated, prosecuted?
Now, I have my opinions and the facts that I know that can answer his question, but is the reason I'm doing this clip because I'm not a lawyer. So to hear what an actual lawyer who worked in the Justice Department can comment on this particular clip is the reason why we're reviewing this.
Or deported by you know, the whole range of the alphabet soup, as you mentioned.
Yeah, Brian, a couple of things to unpack here. First of all, you know, we have a practice and a policy at the Department of Justice, and it covers all of the federal law enforcement agencies, and frankly, it covers MPD, the Metropolitan Police Department, as well, that when an officer engages in this kind of misconduct that we saw on that video, we as prosecutors are actually going to be required to disclose in every single case, in every single arrest that this officer was involved in, we're going to have to disclose this misconduct in this one case because it may actually be fodder for cross-examination of a defendant in another case. So, you know, it will impact potentially more than just this one arrest. With respect to whether this officer...
Luckily, they don't hire the smartest people when it comes to hiring ICE agents. And because he is so used to having his opinion validated online that he was able to, I suppose, take the mask off and say it out loud. And for that, I suppose we thank you. It's in the same way that I saw something today that said, woke is dead, there are white people back in commercials. To which the only reply is, A, they never left, and B, thanks for saying the quiet part out loud.
Officer speaks for the entire, you know, I don't know if this is ICE, I don't know exactly what law enforcement component this officer was assigned to, because they don't really show their insignia or their faces these days. But, you know, listen, I always said one bad apple does not spoil the whole bunch, and we often had bad apples in law enforcement. We didn't let them taint the entire law enforcement community, because I've always gone on.
No, I've always said that if there's one bad apple, the entire bunch is spoiled, because if they're not reporting that one bad apple, that's accessory to it. Sorry, but if you're going to use logic, it's also in the same way they say that if a Nazi comes to a table and there's 9 people sitting there and they don't say anything, there's 10 Nazis at the table.
Record is saying, in all my years working with multiple law enforcement agencies, the vast majority of officers are real protect and serve people. They're doing it right in the street, policing every day. But we do have our bad apples. So I'm not going to say that this one law enforcement officer, should reflect what, the entire agency that he may be assigned to is doing, how they're policing. But here's the thing, Brian. We have seen the reports of them bringing on board all of these folks with, let's just say, questionable qualifications, background, experience. They're throwing bonus money at them. And we know that they're not spending enough time training these people. I mean, before you become a street officer, you go through the police academy for months and months of training. These people feel like 30-day wonders, if they're even getting 30 days of training before they're hitting the streets. That's a recipe for disaster. It is a danger to public safety, and it will potentially do harm to legal proceedings, whether they happen to be criminal prosecutions or deportation proceedings.
Glenn, you mentioned that this one federal agent's actions don't represent the whole agency, but the basis on which that federal agent and the rest of these federal agents were hired was to do something very specific that is partisan in nature and is inherently aligned with exactly what that agent said, which is that liberals are ruining the country and they have a political agenda to enact here to quash their influence. And so, in a sense, could you not make the argument that this federal agent's actions were not a bug, they were a feature? This is what this agent...
Holy shit, yeah. I mean, I believe use the same words. It's fairly common parlance these days, but straight up, that is a great take. Where's the lie? Obviously, they're not passing background checks. The only checks that they're interested in is the sign-on bonus. Cruelty for hire.
Agency is there to do, and you can tell by virtue of how Stephen Miller and Donald Trump and all of these people speak, what they have said outwardly. ICE and Border Patrol are there to do in the city, and the way that the whole thing has already been politicized. And so could you make the argument that in fact this agent's actions and words do represent the entire agency, and this isn't just the case of one bad apple, really this is an apple representing the entire spoiled bunch?
Yeah, Brian, don't get me wrong when I use the one bad apple saying, because we have seen, entire rotten orchards with the way these ICE agents have been, just trampling on the due process rights of folks who may be here undocumented, but, the Constitution still applies. Even undocumented immigrants in our country have due process rights. Before an officer can take them into custody, can chase them down, can seize them. Seize is a term of art used in...
Something that MAGA seems to be having a problem with is that the Fifth Amendment says no person, not no citizen or any citizen. It's no person. Once more, the Constitution exists beyond the very first part of the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. Sorry. I realize that reading is difficult for people that tend to embrace fascism, but there's no gaslighting the Constitution. Sorry.
In the Fourth Amendment, they have to have requisite evidence, probable cause, or sometimes reasonable articulable suspicion. I don't want to turn this into a law school class. And what judges have ruled, trial court judges and appellate court judges, is the federal agents are running roughshod, violating the constitutional rights of human beings who are in the United States. So I don't want to pretend that this one statement by this officer that was, obviously and overtly political in nature is an isolated incident. I strongly suspect it's not. And don't you think that the tone that is set by Donald Trump and all his impertinent, his dangerous, his demeaning and mocking comments of, among others, immigrants, kind of sets the tone for how law enforcement may be comfortable policing in Donald Trump?
Yeah, let's not forget about the AI-generated alligators with the ice caps on, which easily ended up being manipulated to end up being Schutzstaffel caps. Because really, what's the difference except one's a bit more stylish?
America. So, yes, it may be, and it probably is representative of the larger problem, particularly because we've seen the larger problem with our own eyes in the way ICE is out there policing the streets. And we have heard from federal courts, both trial courts and appellate courts, that ICE has been violating the constitutional rights of folks they are seizing.
Glenn, in a different world, the one where you worked as a federal prosecutor for 3 decades, this kind of thing, this kind of isolated incident would be enough to really usher in some major movement. I think it would be naive to assume that hearing one guy say, oh, we're doing this because the liberals have ruined the country, that's not going to change anything, even despite all of the attention he's getting right now and how it reflects on the broader group of federal agents who are out there on the streets. Do you think that we've crossed a Rubicon here and the DOJ and all of its associated agencies are no longer abiding by the same rules and principles of before, and that if they want to come out and say, yeah, we're here to push back against the libs, then that's just how it's going to be? And there's not going to be any recourse? We're just going to have an overtly partisan law enforcement apparatus, and that's just how it's going to be moving forward?
Yeah, we have crossed the Rubicon when it comes to the way that Pam Bondi and Donald Trump's other corrupt DOJ officials have been conducting themselves. I mean, everything that they are doing is politically motivated, and so much of what they're doing is designed to please dear leader, not to remain loyal to the rule of law, the Constitution, or the policies and procedures that govern how all of the Department of Justice, including federal law enforcement agencies, are required to conduct themselves. And let me tell you, Brian, if this had happened in the before times, before Donald Trump and Pam Bondi attempted to destroy the rule of law and the legitimacy of the Department of Justice, this officer would have instantly been referred to Internal Affairs for an investigation. This is a possible civil rights violation. This is somebody who...
I wonder if he'll actually get a bonus. It seems like the bigger dick you are, the more you're respected in that job. It's almost like being a corrections officer in a prison. The bigger dick you are, the more kudos you get. So I'm fucking convinced that he'd probably end up getting a cabinet position.
Who I suspect would have instantly be put on desk duty, if not on leave, maybe paid leave, while the investigation was conducted, and until there was a determination about what kind of misconduct this is and what kind of punishment it might warrant.
Well, of course, we'll stay on top of this issue and the rest of the unleashed federal agencies that are...
Yep. They're making it easier and easier and easier to be able to build evidence against them. when it comes to if they do any sort of illegal arrest to United States citizens. So keep your camera phones on. Not only keep your camera phones on, but also keep the mockery up. Don't stop the mockery. That's what's going to win us. Win us this war of messaging, because the more that we press, especially now with them melting down, having their own style turned against them, the more that it makes it easier to press, because we've seen what triggers them, and it's obviously AI images that resemble Gavin Newsom in a Fabio-like position with Melania. Keep it up. Don't stop. We got this shit. Well, thanks for tuning in. It was great to see you and everybody. Yeah, and don't stop pressing. Keep it cranked at 11. You're creative. I got faith in you. As long as you're making each other laugh, you're pissing the other side off. And maybe they'll see just how ridiculous they are, or how Trump is. You never know. They might see the light. Until tomorrow. Later, skaters.
All day long I distract and divert, beguile and subvert, be playful, a flirt. I always promise the press I got dirt, keeps my enemies alert, chaos my dessert. When I see lots of news on Epstein, a me stopping teens, stories on my ween, I get up on the roof where I can be seen on a million screens just to make a big scene. I'm the diddler on the roof, erasing all the proof. You say it's uncouth, I swear it's the truth. When people say I'm on the Epstein list, I'll always insist it may or may not exist. I'll just name the Clintons, they're always pissed. Obama in a pinch, or Joe Biden, he's not missed. They claim I covered up all of my tracks, my flights there and back, the parties in his flack, our fights over minors, the girls and their attacks, or bites on their back, but the proof they do lack. I'm the diddler on the roof, erasing all the proof. You say it's uncouth, I swear it's the truth. So I shout and holler way up on high, looking down from the sky, 1,000 alibis. And you ask me about the Epstein files, never heard of him, I lied, never knew the guy. But keep in mind, it's all part of my big plan. Distract while I can, like a showbiz man, with a Bible in my hand and a spray-on tan. I'll gaslight the land like only I can. I'm the diddler on the roof. I'm the diddler, still dancing, still aloof. And here's my spoon. I deny it all. Now that's my truth.
I really hate that sad loser, Mr. Newberger.
Who, me?
owned and operated not only by you guys, but solely by you guys. So if you guys,